Excellent. Good morning. Hello. I haven't really said anything. Can you hear me now? I'm just gonna, looks like we have to mute again. Mute. Oh, yeah. I had to make a new batch of meetings, so I guess I didn't put the auto mute on. Maybe. It's okay. I'll go through and mute you guys if I don't see it muted. Also, just so you guys know, I have been told that sometimes when I just answer a question without reading it, it's confusing. So I'm going to try to like read the question and the person who wrote it in and say that. So hopefully that's less confusing. So if I don't do that, be like, Morgan, do the thing. Because I want this to be easier and it's a learning experience. It's a lot easier when the person actually interrupts me to ask the question. That's okay. We'll get there together. It's all good. Okay, so Tawanda said, say that again. I'm just going to try to read the questions and who said them when I'm talking, because it's been confusing for me to just answer the question without giving it context. And so I'm going to try to say what the question is and who asked it and then answer the question. So hopefully it's a little bit more contextualized and makes sense. That's the goal. Let me write something down real fast. Okay. Cool. All right. Yes, it's a learning curve. Okay, hang on. So Diane said, not your fault, it's a learning curve. And I agree 100%. It is a learning curve. But I think overall it's going okay. I feel like I've seen a lot of really nice code from you guys. I've seen like a lot of like effort and like almost everybody's been like pretty quick, just like totally adapt to this brand new thing. Which is nice because I know that, you know, I actually had a long conversation with my boyfriend last night because he's a very like structured and like planning and like this is the way things are kind of dude. And you know, you guys know I'm a lot more like, this is what it is. And so we were talking for a long time and I was like, this is really stressful for a lot of people. I get it. Because, you know, I'm always just like, okay, we got something totally new now. Let's figure it out. And so having him be like, no, 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 this is stressful and scary. I'm like, it is stressful and scary. All right. All righty. Yes. moving along. You guys just another minute or two to get everybody in. So I'm gonna give everybody just a couple minutes because I'm still missing a few people. So let's do like a quick, not probably like a proper stand-up, but just everybody kind of, you know, give me a quick like mood check. How are we feeling about everything? In class or in general, either one. Okay, so Sarah asked in class or in general, either one. Either one. No, you can just give him that feedback because that's a lot more like program ones. I just kind of want your like, a little bit less stressed about the group project from Lexi. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah, I will say the screen share. All right, so Tawanda says that it's easier to hear and see stuff, and I totally agree. It is really nice, especially like when we look at stuff I can't zoom in on. It is nice to know you guys can see the screen exactly how I see it. Okay, so we got from like a little stressed and then to very stressed. All right. All right. All right, so Jamila was like, doing the back end stuff is like all the challenging stuff. I agree. It'll be Node in MySQL. Yep. Yep. Woozy emoji face. I really enjoy writing out the emoji names. I also really like when like you talk to your phone and it reads you the emojis back. Especially like if you like put like skin tones on the emoji, it will be like light, muscular arm. All right. Shawnee's not feeling super motivated. I feel that like this morning I was literally just like Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Let's just cancel class and watch a movie. I think it's the weather, because it's been like, because like the weekend the weather was really, really nice, and now it's just like, cool. Yep, we're not alone. It's a group project. We got a team. Can we do that? If we were not behind, I would probably be a little bit more like, let's watch Hackers or something vaguely coding related. Okay, so hang on. So Jimmy asked, can we do movie day? I'm not opposed to it, and last time I did let them have a movie day.
Yeah, it might be over there.
I'm gonna mute you real fast. Maybe. Where'd you go? Interesting. Okay. Oh, it looks like everybody's muted. Weird. Okay. My Cardi B. What? That's funny. All right.
Thank you. Yeah. Now I can close out of this one.
Someone is not muted. Oop, there we go. Okay. No more echo.
Thank you. It says your name here.
All right. All right. So I was trying to respond to stuff, so I don't know what you guys are on about, so give me like 2 seconds to catch up with your guys' stuff on the chat. Boy, give me this. There we go. Okay. Chuck, I don't know what you are asking with the Valley of the Boom stuff. Osmosis Jones. Today is a bit of a mess from Nick. Yeah. Sometimes when like people talk about shows from their childhood, especially like a less popular show, it is like a like slap of nostalgia. Oh, the Browser Wars. Yeah, so Chuck was talking about the Browser Wars. Yeah. The Browser Wars are weird. It's a weird thing. If you want to spend some time looking at the Browser Wars, Rainbow Bright. Zoom up. Whoa. Nick, you're too young for that. How do you know it? I don't even know how to say that zoo show. Jeez. Wow. Zoom boom mafu. Yeah. Thinking about going back to bed. Went to bed at like 3 a.m. Yeah, I didn't super sleep that Cyber Chase. Yeah, man. Wow. Nick, you weren't alive from Tehran. BS Kids know. From Tyler. My mom also just texted me and said that she doesn't want to work. So there's just something about today that's just like, nah. Okay. Anyways, I think everybody's here. I think we've gotten a lot of our, what's the word I'm looking for? Emotions. God, that's sad that I don't remember the word emotions. Tomfoolery, attendance, reboot. Excellent additions from everyone. Yeah, so today all I want to do for lecture is I want to go through some more server stuff. You missed Toonami from Sarah. I didn't watch a lot of Toonami. It wasn't super my thing. But I remember that little like robot in the spaceship a lot. It still comes on every Saturday night. I don't know what Jetix is either, Nick. Oh, that was his name? I don't have cable. Me either. I do actually finally own a TV, and it's an accident that I own a TV. Focus time. Focus time. Tehran, focus time. Let me know how that works for you. All right. Cool. Let's get into it. This one. This one. Share, and then let me readjust all of my stuff so I can see what you guys are saying. Also, I slept with my windows open last night and my hair is so big and poofy today. I don't know what's up with it. It's just like decided to be very big. Okay, I can see everybody's stuff. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna minimize this and I'm gonna minimize this. I don't need this. I need this here. Okay. All right. Today should be relatively normal. I'm also going to try to talk to all of my TAs today to get them a set schedule of when they're going to be available. I think Nick's been doing pretty good about talking to you guys, but has Farouk talked to any of you guys? Has he reached out to any of you? No? No? Okay. I thought not, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't making an assumption. And then I'm assuming also Courtney hasn't talked to any of you guys either. Hardcore has. Yeah, Hardcore's been pretty good about it. What am I being sent? No to Courtney as well. Okay. I thought so. I just wanted to check and make sure that I wasn't just making assumptions. Cool. All right. Good to know. So I'm going to try to talk to them today to get you guys more setup stuff. You guys do have Damien and Nicole available too. And then I have been getting some of my other friends from RSI to just like hang out in Discord and stuff, ask them questions. Stan was hanging out in Discord most yesterday afternoon. He's very nice and he's been a QA for 4 or 5 years. So he can answer lots and lots of QA questions. I might make my Java person do that tomorrow. So that way you guys get lots of different people. Because, you know, when we're all in person, you guys have like everybody who's at the clubhouse to like bother. So I want to give you guys that experience as best as I can. All right. Do I have anything else going on? I don't think so. I'm sure there's something that I forgot, but you know, we'll figure it out together. All right. I think that's it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. We'll figure out what I forgot when we get there, but I don't think I'm forgetting anything. So I want to go through all of this stuff pretty fast. This is not going to be like, you know, like when we talk about like JavaScript stuff, I need you to really understand like what a for loop is and like really understand the structure and like how it works and how to use it in production and all that. This stuff is a lot more exposure to bigger structures so that way you understand how the pieces work, but you might not necessarily need to be like an expert unless you want to like freelance, then you should probably be pretty comfortable with all of these things. Or if you're like, ooh, this is the really interesting part, I want to get into this, then I want you guys to have that kind of exposure, but like I'm not expecting you guys to be like building your own operating systems or whatever. So I want to start with, we talked about this for like 30 seconds, like 2 weeks ago. And I want to start with like this idea of a tech stack. What do we think a tech stack is? Like when somebody says like, what stack do you work in? What does that mean? I don't know, or dumb answers are totally accepted. That's not a terrible, that's not, all right, so Chuck guessed Visual Studio, which isn't a bad guess. Okay, we don't know from Jamila. Languages from Venus, that's not bad. Languages are a part of it. A group of languages, how you format your text. These are not terrible. Okay, yeah. Libraries, languages, and framework. That's getting close to it, Lexi. So a tech stack is all of the tools that we use to build our applications. So there's a whole bunch of different ones. The big ones are LAMP, XAMPP, and Mean. I'm gonna write those in the CBC8 chat, so you guys have all of those words. There's LAMP, Mean, XAMPP, and JAM. And those all just look like made up pretend words, but all of them are acronyms. And so when we talk about a tech stack, we're talking about all the tools we use to make applications. So for example, when we talk about LAMP stacks, we talk about, here, I'm gonna pull up a little note thing real fast. New note. A layered way of looking at tools in languages to make applications. Example of LAMP. So LAMP stack, this is not the stack I'm going to teach you guys, but it is a very, very popular stack. So I want you guys to have exposure to it, so you guys know what it is. If somebody says like, oh, I'm a LAMP stack developer, or like you see a job application that says LAMP stack, you understand what it is. So you can run away. I'm just kidding. LAMP stacks are fine if you can work in PHP. So our LAMP stack says that we're going to use a Linux operating system. We're going to use Apache to talk about all of our server infrastructure stuff. And we'll talk a little bit more today about like what. So Taran asked, is this the most used stack? I think it is, because WordPress uses this for the most part. But we can find out. Let me finish defining LAMP stack, and then we will Google and find out what the most used tech stack is. I'm pretty sure it's LAMP or XAMPP. But we'll find out for sure. And then we have MySQL for our database. Someone asked me about, I don't think it's Maria. It's spelled different. Hang on. I don't remember what it's spelled as. Because that's not spelled right. It's not Maria. Oops. Ooh, I'm messing everything up. Get back in there. Go here. Oh, it is. It is Maria. Okay. I thought I misspelled it. I didn't. This is what some people are switching over to. This is the software part of MySQL that a lot of people use. It's popular, it's free, it's open source. a lot of people use it. I just want you guys to have exposure to it. It's just another thing to use instead of, yep. Yeah, so Diane said that she was looking for it when she was doing the JAWS DB stuff. Yep, kind of the same thing. It uses MySQL just like Workbench or JAWS. It's just another management system for it. So I just want you guys to have exposure to that. It's really popular. I haven't used it in production, but most of the time, like if I'm building a LAMP stack thing, I'm using PHPMyAdmin to run my database. I don't know if I recommend Maria over PHPMyAdmin, but they both exist. I just want you guys to have exposure to it. It's just another management system for it. Sometimes you'll see LAMP stacks with 2 P's, and that's for PHP and Perl. Perl's just another programming language. It's a lot more structured than most scripting languages. It's an older language. Not as many people use it now. So normally LAMP stacks are only with 1 P and it's just PHP. But sometimes if you see it with 2 P's, it's because it's Perl. And that's just another programming language. I don't know what it actually looks like. I don't know if I've actually used Perl in production. I just want to see what it looks like. What does it look like? That looks gross. But I've also been told that I've been coding in JavaScript too much, and so now I don't know anything about coding. So, elitist. But yeah. That's what Perl is. It's an older programming language. Sometimes people use it in the LAMP stack. It's not used as much as it used to be. But you might see it if you get like a really old legacy system. So I want to briefly talk about that real fast. Everybody wants to, there's this Kurt Vonnegut quote about like everyone wants to be builders and nobody wants to be maintainers, and that's what's fundamentally wrong with humans. I think that is like doubly or triply so with software developers. Everybody just wants to build new things with the newest technology and not fix old stuff or maintain it, which is why we get a lot of security issues and usability issues. So I do kind of want to take like a baby sidestep into legacy code. What is legacy code? Old. All right, so Chuck said old code. That's a pretty good answer. What else do we think about it? Code that existed before from Tehran. That is a very, very good definition. I like that a lot. And then Tyler says the source code of the site or the app. Yeah. So I really like, Sarah says it's probably hard to work with. I really like the definition of legacy code is everything you haven't written. And that's probably a little bit mean of a definition of legacy code, but I think it's a definition that makes things easy to work with. I normally define legacy code as pre-existing code that you did not write. Typically, legacy code is not documented well and has architect issues because it's not written with the newest standards. So there are a bunch of really good resources because that's typically what you end up working with is doing migrations for legacy code into newer code bases is a lot of what development is. And doing migrations feels very scary and stressful. So that's why it's really good to like read other people's code so that way you can have practice for it. So when you do it in production, it's not as scary. But yeah, just be aware that a lot of the code you're going to work with is poorly documented, written with old standards, and like written with architectures that might not be used anymore. So even if you are, so Tehran says 2 years later, our stuff will be considered legacy code. I wouldn't even give it that long. I'd say 6 months, honestly. Like, code is, I think, very, very quickly expiring. That's not to say that everything has to be rewritten all the time. If code is written to clean code standards and is documented well, Diane said she was about to say the same thing. Yeah. If, because like, I mean, there are still government systems that use Fortran, and Fortran like died in like 1970. But like, there's still people who write things in Fortran and Cobalt or Cobalt. I want to say Cobalt because that's our little system we use, but that's not what it is. It's Cobalt. Because it's clear and it works with the systems and it's well documented. So not all legacy code is bad, but a lot of times legacy code comes from using systems that are not sustainable. Or I think I've talked to you guys about this, but I might not have gone on my rant about it. There's this thing called a 10x developer or whatever, of just like, you get one ninja superstar developer who just does everything and then no one can read their code. I've worked with a couple of them. They're terrible. They're the reason we have legacy code, because they don't write comments, they don't write their code clearly, they write regexes without explaining what they're for. Like, they might write really, really great code that's really cool and does what it's supposed to. But you know, it comes down to like being a team player, and like if you're not writing your code for yourself in the future and for other people, you're not really writing good code. You might write code that works and is cool, but it's not good. But yeah, that's my legacy code rant. I hope you enjoyed it. That's a lot of what ends up happening is working with legacy code. Like one of my first big projects I ever did was taking an application in PHP 5 and migrating it over to PHP 7. So that's a lot of like beginning projects, is taking things from old standards and putting it into new standards. All right, I'm gonna Google real fast. What is the most used tech stack? Mean and LAMP. Let's talk about mean real fast too, so you guys have that, because that's probably going to be something that you'd actually use. Blah, 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 blah. This actually goes through, this actually isn't terrible, go away. I don't like medium, but I wanted, that's weird. I wanted it's rude. I'll put that in Slack for you guys. I just wanted, all right, Cora, come through. I thought somebody would have like a statistical analysis of this or something. I was not expecting just like opinions. Here we go. This looks promising. Oh, I do want to talk really fast. So see how this has the programming language and then the framework? Most of the time when you're using a language in production, you're going to use a framework. So like Java has Spring, PHP has Laravel, Python normally uses Django, but I've seen a lot of Flask stuff too. So you guys, that's what those are. And then we have Node. Great. I just wanted, should we email Anastasia about what kind of project we're doing? All right, that's not what I wanted. I was expecting there to be like a statistical analysis of this, but I guess not. I guess not. That's weird. Let's get a picture though. That is a good idea. Give me a picture. This is nice. This is a picture of kind of everything. But this gives you like what all the stuff is. So the bottom layer is infrastructure. So that's stuff like our actual physical server, our like Cloudflare, Cloud Health, and I think Prometheus does the same thing too. I don't know for sure. Prometheus might do something different. They all do like all the cloud stuff, like making sure that you can't get DDoSed, helping you with your SSL certs, all that kind of pieces. And we got our operating systems. Most of the time we're using Linux-based systems. There are Windows servers, and there are people who use Windows for the entire thing. So like you use like .NET programming, you use a little bit of JavaScript with your .NET framework, you use Azure for all of your server stuff, like, and you use Windows, and you use SQL Server. Like, that is a totally valid tech stack that a lot of people use. That costs a lot of money, and that's why I don't teach it. And also, it's very limiting, like most people use Linux. So that's our infrastructure layer. Built on top of our infrastructure layer is our data layer. And so that's like our database. So MySQL or Elasticsearch is like what is super hot right now. Like everybody's like, ooh, you should move over to Elasticsearch. It's not crazy hard to work in, all things considered, but it is newer, so it's not like as, you know, like if you have a MySQL question, there's no way you're the first person to ever have it. You know, just Elasticsearch is newer, but it's cool. It can do a lot of really cool stuff. So infrastructure layer, stuff like servers and operating systems. Our database layer is our database. Our next layer is our backend layer. What's so cool about it? It's geared to handle big data in a way that other programs are not. It's a lot better at doing all the indexing stuff. Like it is really, really nice for like it's really popular for like huge online stores because it can do the cross indexing a lot faster than other things, and it's built for speed versus things like MySQL are built more for stability. Elasticsearch was built with speed in mind. Oh, hang on. So Sarah asked what was so cool about it. Okay, we'll get there. So infrastructure, data, our backend languages. So our backend is our server-side code. This will do things like make stuff talk to the database. This will do things like make sure the server's up. This will do things like all of the stuff we don't want a client's machine to do will go on to this backend piece. We got a whole bunch of stuff. So PHP, Java, a lot of people are writing stuff in Go. I don't know how, Go is not super hard to learn. I think it's a really fun language to write in. I don't know how like viable as like a thing to put on your resume and spend a lot of time with is, but it is fun. And then we got our good boy node, which is very nice. The other two things of Jenkins and Travis CI, we will spend some time with later this week talking about. So Sarah says TaxSlayer says they use Go with their new app. Yeah, I think Workful or Workforce, whatever it's called, uses Go. It is a very fun, light language. Like it is very fast and very fun. I just don't know how many other people are using it. So we'll talk about Jenkins and Travis CI today, I hope. Maybe tomorrow, but I hope today. I don't know what Status Cake is, but yeah, so that's all of our backend stuff. Is like our, like, where like the server side beefier real code goes. Because most of the time our like serious stuff is going to be on the server side. So like if you're doing like taxes, like it's probably running all the numbers on the server. If you're doing like, you know, you have all of your code, that's normally where it all lives. So infrastructure, data, back-end code. This breaks it up into 2 front ends. I think that's a little bit older. I think people don't super do this anymore. We kind of build mobile first. I'm writing down a note so I remember to talk about this. Okay. We'll talk about progressive web apps too. Most people just build a mobile-friendly website. You don't typically need to make an app also. We will talk about like apps, progressive web apps, and mobile-friendly websites, and like what the difference is and when you should use what. Just so you guys have it there. So our front-end stuff, it's, you know, just regular JavaScript, it's HTML, it's CSS. That's where like our JavaScript frameworks go, so React, Angular, Vue, TypeScript is really popular. We also have Webpack, which is just a thing that organizes all of our little individual pieces of code and smooshes it together to make it faster. I don't know what Backbone.js is. I'm assuming it's another framework that's had its heyday and then died. JavaScript frameworks die very quickly. Like Ember, super, super popular for like a year, dead. Cool. And then over on, what, is that the right? I don't know if that's the right or the left with you. It just has all of the other tools that they use to organize their project. So Jira is a software management tool, but it's just a way to organize tickets and like stories and like do all your agile stuff. So Jamila said, I thought you were saying like Embers, so they named it after something that dies fast for real. Yes, it's called Ember.js. It literally was like, everyone loved it for a little bit and then it just died. React and Angular have kind of stood the test of time versus other things. And test of time is relative. They're only a couple years old, but you know, they've been a little bit more stable. GitHub. I don't know what these. I don't know what these other ones are. I think they're a bunch of like status monitoring things. So okay, so I got 2 questions for you guys. Do you guys in this picture see anything about testing tools? And do we see anything that looks like security related? No and no. Highlighted picture, yeah. So this like pink one over here, besides built in from the infrastructure, yeah. So we do have Cloudflare, which does some security stuff for us, but I don't see anything like Selenium or any other kind of testing software. So when you're considering this kind of like big architecture of like everything that you use, you probably should include your testing and security services in here too. And maybe they don't have them because mainly they just, maybe they do everything manually. But yeah, so just be aware like you do need to think about testing and security at all of your layers. Cool. All right, that was a slight derailment, but you know, it's good to get into. The other stack is Mean is really popular. So it's MongoDB instead of MySQL. Mongo is a non-relational database, which means that it doesn't have all the structured rules like MySQL does. It's really popular. A lot of people use it. I medium recommend learning it. Like, it's not vital, but I think it can be a really good skill to have. And then we use Express, which is just, you know, it's our framework for Node. And then we use Angular, which is just a JavaScript framework. Also, and alternatives. Like if you don't like Angular, you can just use React or whatever. And then Node. So this is like a really compact, fast stack for JavaScript applications. And yeah, so it's just JavaScript all the way through, and then Mongo for the database. This is really, really popular because it's light and it's easy and everything's in JavaScript, and like lots of people really like working with the mean stack. We do also have, just so you guys have exposure to this, if you're working on a Windows, okay. So Sarah asked, what's the difference between Express and Angular? Aren't they both frameworks? Yes. So Angular is a front-end framework, so it doesn't touch any back-end code, while Express works with Node, and so it's a back-end framework. So while we use JavaScript in both places because we have to use Node in the back-end, we can't necessarily use Angular's framework in the back-end, and so we have Express for our back-end code for a framework. But they are both frameworks. They just go to different pieces. That is a good question. If you want to work in the LAMP stack and you have a Windows machine, this is a little bit easier because Windows has that Linux subsystem now. But typically what you have to do is use this thing called XAMPP. It's just a tool to build LAMP stacks on non-Linux machines, so that way it'll work properly. Just so you guys have exposure to that. I don't expect you to use it and work with it and be like, I'm the best at it. I just want you guys to be like, that's what XAMPP is. They're blowing leaves again. It's so loud. I hope you enjoy. Oh, the stack that we're gonna spend time with is Jamstack. Could you just use a VM to use LAMP on Windows machine? You can, and that's kind of what XAMPP does, but you can use a VM. So Sarah asked, can you use a VM on to use LAMP on Windows? And the answer is yes. Just most people don't because it's an extra step and it's work, and XAMPP is a little bit easier to use than a VM for most people. I just want, would it be? Okay. So a Jamstack is like what's the hot new flavor. It's JavaScript APIs and markup, which is a much simpler stack than what we've been talking about. It has all of these little fancy things, like congratulations, you guys have already made a Jamstack website with your GitHub pages. That's a Jamstack website because it's just Jekyll. That's fancy, and you guys use Markdown on it for your README. Congrats. Jekyll, Hugo, Nuxt, Next, and Gatsby are these things called static site generators. It's kind of like WordPress, but even simpler. It's just a tool that we get to use to make websites quickly. You guys have already used Jekyll, even if you didn't know it, because that's what GitHub Pages uses, which is very fancy. And this part of Jamstack means that we're not using it with a server. We just kind of build things and then host them, and they just magically work. So it's kind of magic. But yeah. So those are the most popular stacks. You guys are really comfortable with all parts of the Jamstack because you use them a lot. Running out of names. Tehran says running out of names to use. People make up weird names. I still think Jumel is a weird name, all things considered. I think that's all I wanted to say about tech stacks. So mostly I wanted to give you guys all these vocab words so as you go through like job application things, you can see what kind of tech they're actually asking you for. Because like if you see Jamstack, you can be like, I know what all those letters mean. I can do all of those. But if you see like XAMPP, you'll be like, okay, I don't really like PHP. I don't really know how to use Apache. Maybe this isn't the one I want to do. Or maybe you're like, yeah, give me that mean stack, yeah. So then you know. This tells you about what it is and all that. I think this is in, oh, I sat with my legs crossed. I fell asleep. That was a bad idea. I think I have this link in your syllabus, but I might not. So we'll leave it with them. Cool. So any questions about like what a tech stack is, or like the most common ones that we see? Everybody feels pretty comfortable with tech stacks? I know what they are. Yeah, and that's all I want. I want you guys to have the vocab words for it. Like I'm not going to give you homework. Like, okay, build a LAMP stack. I want a website built with LAMP stack. I just want you guys to like have it and be able to look at it and understand what pieces they're asking for. All right, so Sarah asked at some point, can we go through looking for jobs? Typing in web development doesn't give you anything. Excellent. Yes, we can do that. I also want to talk to you guys. I think Diane brought up like, how do you tell if a contracting job is, you know, worth it, or if they're just gonna like steal your kidneys? So we'll talk about that too and look at like contract jobs and like ways you can see if they're like worth being in. Have I given you guys my Reviture rant? Okay. Just making sure, because I don't want you guys to do anything that's gonna like be dangerous. No, I haven't. Reviture, we'll do the teeny tiny version of my Reviture rant. Reviture is a company that says it's going to give you a guaranteed job somewhere in web development. They make you sign a 2-year contract. They tell you where to move, and you can't break out of your contract. And normally you're working for like literally pennies on the dollar of what you should be paid. Like that time. Yes. Yes. Reviture is a bad idea. Do not go work for them. They're very sketchy. Yes, do not go work for Reviture. Well, I'm glad that I brought them up by name then. Yeah, Reviture does sketchy tech practices. It's kind of like, I have a lot of problems with like unpaid internships because they're super exclusionary to like people who actually have to like, I don't know, work for money. Reviture's kind of in that same vein of like, oh, well, you know, you can get a real job after this because blah, blah. No, they don't pay people enough. They do a bunch of really, really sketchy contract things. Not a good time. So, yeah. Okay, so Taiwanda says, I remember it. It sounded fishy, too much sketchy stuff. Agreed. Agreed, yeah. Most of the things, like if you're working on like Upwork or Fiverr, a lot of them might underpay you, but like it's quick freelance contracts. Most of them tend to be fine, and we'll look at like how you pick which one's on. There's a bug on my laptop. I might knock my camera off as I try to kill this bug on my laptop. Sorry, guys. Go away. I don't like that. No, thank you. Where'd it go? Okay, there it is. It's dead. Ew. No, it's just a regular. It's just like a little webcam. That's gross. I guess I have to call them to do pest control too. No AC and bugs. We're out here in the apocalypse. Should have got a Windows. It has a built-in webcam. It just sucks. But besides, my operating system is at least pretty. That was a total derailment. That's okay. It's all good. Like when I threw that coffee cup at hardcore, these things happen. All right. Sarah says, I made my operating system pretty. It's purple themed. I didn't have to do anything to mine. Mine's just pretty out of the box. And you guys know, I'm lazy. All right. Let's get through this little Linux section real fast, and then we will go on our break. So the two pieces that I really want to talk about for all this tech stack stuff is Linux and Apache. I might briefly talk about Nginx just so you guys have it. But let's talk about, so like first, what's Linux? All right, Chuck says it's an operating system. Wonderful. I have to see if I can find this one meme because it makes me laugh. It's like, I have 500 pictures on my phone. Why? I'm looking for a particular thing to show you guys real fast. Sarah says operating system that a lot of people use. It has a penguin. It does in fact have a penguin. This is a good point. So I'll try to figure out how to get this onto my laptop so I can show you guys. But yeah, so it's an operating system. What makes Linux different from Mac OS or Windows? What's like the big key difference? It's open source. Yes, the Tyler and Sarah both say it's open source. So what that means is you can get the code for the Linux operating system and change it. You can make your own distribution of it. You can, you know, just change colors on it. Like you get to take that source code and build whatever you want with it, which is pretty cool. Versus like Windows, like, you know, I'm just like, oh, I want to be able to change. You can't. But Linux, you can go and take whatever piece you want and change it. And that's why it's so popular, and that's why there's also like dozens and dozens of flavors of Linux, because each of them are custom built tools for specific things. So like Security Onion has its distribution of Linux. You have Kali, you have Ubuntu, you have like bajillion, CentOS, all that. So I'm clicking on this link here in our syllabus, and I want to show you guys. Does this not have? Also, distributions tends to get shortened to distros. Ubuntu is like the most popular one for like just people to use. Fedora is really popular. Got all these different flavors. Lots of different flavors. But yeah, so there you go. Lots of different flavors of Linux. I really like this one because this explains what all the pieces are. And I want to spend some time going through all of these so you guys have all of these pieces so you understand what's up. Is it fundamental for you as a like web developer to understand these? No, but I think being able to have all of these pieces and understand how the systems work help you understand how to build stuff a little bit better. And it's nice to have that good basis of vocabulary so when you're talking to like other tech people, you can be like, I know what that is. I got it. I'm with you. So this will just be a vocab section, not super like critical, but I think this is important for you guys to have just a vocab to it. But it's 10. Let's go ahead and take a break. Let's come back at, we'll come back at 10:20. And we'll put that time in here. Does anybody have any questions about what we've talked about so far today? Alrighty. I will see you guys back at 10:20.